Welcome back to another episode of the Jackrabbit Illustrated Podcast. We're excited to have you join us today. Before we dive in, we'd like to thank our sponsors who help make this all possible. First off, a great big thank you to our title sponsor again for 2024, the Kubota dealers of South Dakota. Whether it's tractors, mowers, utility vehicles, construction, or farm equipment, Kubota's got you covered. With 9 convenient locations across the state of South Dakota and 1 in northwest Iowa, there's always a Kubota dealer nearby. Stop by your local Kubota dealer and see all they have to offer. All A-Team shows are sponsored this year by Culver's of Brookings and Watertown, home of the Butterburger, fried cheese curds, signature root beer, and world-famous custard. Culver's, welcome to Delicious. Next, we would like to recognize the support of our other A-Team podcast sponsors. Cubby Sports Bar and Grill, the best sports bar in South Dakota and home to the Jimmy Rogers Radio Show. Northwestern Mutual Wealth Management, see them for all your retirement and life insurance needs. And the Jackrabbit Former Players Association. And now, here is the A-Team.
And we're back on a Victory Sunday, which for a while we felt like we weren't going to get, but we are here. So we are celebrating Victory Sunday. We are celebrating National Tight End Day. Congratulations on your touchdown, Tuckercraft. So that was great. And we're good. We're all kind of tired, I think, but we're good. Jake, what's new? What's good with you?
Yeah, good to be back. I felt bad missing last week. Was out for a pheasant opener, big thing here in South Dakota, of course, as we all know. It's like a national holiday for my family. I literally think my family works harder to get together for that than they do for Christmas. It's a true thing. We don't miss it. So that was a full day, Saturday, Sunday, running around. And then, yeah, gosh, what a great day, October 26th. And you're sitting there dealing with the weather that like it was. And, you know, the fans that we had, the support. I mean, that was awesome game. Smash Mouth football. Fun to see.
Mm-hmm. Chad, what's good with you, man?
Well, as you know, Jake Montana Parlay was hanging out with us. He came to the game yesterday. I picked him up at the airport, got him to his hotel. Tried to convince him not to get a hotel, but he had already got one, couldn't cancel it. So he canceled last night and then stayed here with us. So just spent a little time recovering today. You know, honestly, people don't believe me, but you can talk to Sam. I don't ever get hangovers, but I had a hangover today from the game. Like my lips are still chapped. We were talking on the chat. I got some windburn here. I can feel it here, and my ears are a little bit hot. And then, you know, yeah, we had church today. You know, it's just a regular Sunday for the most part. Didn't do much. Did take a nap because of trying to do a game watch and was falling asleep sitting here at the computer. So
yeah, good.
I didn't get to bed till 1:30.
Yeah, it was late. We were texting.
Mr. Michael Batts, welcome, sir.
All right, our Murray State fan. Excellent, Michael. Jake, I got to ask before we get too far into this, who is the better shot when it comes to pheasant hunting, you or your brother?
Oh, not a question, my brother. I don't know how detailed I need to get to this. Depends on our listeners, but my brother's a little bit of a hunting gun obsession. He's got an obsession there, we could say. So he spends a lot more time and money on it than I do, which I think in hunting makes you better at it, right? I mean, if you spend more time and money on it, it's
was practice with the Benelli or what?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to say out loud how many guns he has, Chad. It's
I mean, the federal government will never know. That's okay. He has one that you're aware of.
He's got a bedroom. I'll say this. He does have a bedroom in his basement, and the door is a safe. It's a safe door. It's that's important.
Awesome. Wow. Good for him.
Yeah. I carried it down for him, dropped it on the floor. He gives me a hard time every time I go over there for the chip in the floor. So it's a heavy door.
Jeepers. Oh, here's our resident doctor again.
There you go.
Well, I mean, I have high liver enzymes, so I think you know what that means I need to do.
Yeah.
What's hard for me yesterday was I got so much crap for that pudding shot. I couldn't drink it or eat it or whatever you got to do. My buddy Eric Schroeder was giving me such a hard time trying to get it. He's like, "You look like an idiot trying to eat that."
Use your tongue, Jake.
That's what he said.
Lady was trying to eat this one, and she was trying to squish it. It was one of the chocolate ones, and her hair kind of blew in it. And
no.
don't know what to do. And I'm like, just use your tongue. She's like, I'm not going to do that. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Hey, Troy's got it figured out. The old man Myron he does. He's got his old 870 from who knows 1980. He still beats us all. My dad.
Yeah. Question, Chad. This is for you now.
Okay.
So Chad comes back. Him and his friend that are dressed up all the time. They go to the backyard with their speakers. They're a walking party. How many times do you get stopped to take pictures to and from?
Oh my gosh. It was very incessive yesterday. And we oblige everybody. We don't say no. Between that, the pudding shots, Dan was kind of getting annoyed. Like we were trying to leave. Club 32 had asked us to get up there. That's shout out to Club 32. They helped donate a bunch to the lemonade stand deal. So so we brought some pudding shots up there, and every time we turn around, it's like, oh, but I want one. Oh, but I want one. And that's cool, right? We got to get rid of them. And then, pictures. Yeah. It's kind of really funny. I don't know if I've ever told this story to you, but when we got our bibs quite a few years ago, because I'm on my second set, not just because I'm fatter than I was. When we got our bibs originally, him and I they were on clearance at the bookstore. And they said, nobody's buying them. That's why they were on clearance. We're like,
not anymore.
So we bought them, and then we went back to get more for the wives because we had like 6 couples when we started tailgating. And yeah, that's about right. Well, anyway, about 4 or 5 of us ended up all getting. We had to end up ordering them off GameBibs.com because the next year the bookstore didn't have any. They sold out of them. What they had left, that was it. And next thing you know, you'd have to talk to Biz because they must have got a lot of requests. Because next thing you know, they're back in the bookstore. Everybody's wearing them, so it's
Cool.
pretty. And I think the first time we honestly saw bibs like that was the Creighton cheerleaders had them when we played them in women's basketball a very long time ago. I'm showing my age there, but at the time I thought they were ridiculous, and I still do. But that's kind of the point.
Yeah, because your hat totally isn't. Your giant hat totally.
I had more people ask about where I bought it this week. I was like, through a clown supply store, duh. I mean, like, is this hard to believe?
Right.
Anyway,
right. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. All right, we got to get into the stuff here.
Sorry. I figured we wanted to burn 10 minutes.
No, you're good. But but the reason I did ask about the pictures is because we see Chad. He's crossing over on the North Campus, whatever drive there, and he's walking across, and he stops and takes pictures with a bunch of USD students. It looked like It was just pretty funny. So yeah,
I mean,
good work, Chad. Man of the people, an ambassador. That's
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say no to anybody, but
I just wonder what they're going to do with pictures. That picture, right?
Yeah,
what the USD guys going to do with that?
They could send it to me. I'd post it somewhere.
Yeah, there we go.
There's going to be a dartboard at a party next week.
That's all right. I don't care. It's still a blue state, man.
Yeah. So before we get into the actual game, got to talk about our sponsors, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota again. So I mowed the leaves one more time again today in my yard, and I took the mower deck off. So next week I'm going to be stopping there in Brookings and getting a kit to change the oil, all my filters and stuff, get ready for winter. But there's these 11 different spots around the state and over in Iowa, the Kubota dealers that they can hook you up with exactly what you need to get yourself ready for winter. So stop in and they'll hook you up with what you need. So thank you, Kubota Dealers of South Dakota, for your sponsorship of all of our shows, being our title sponsor. And then Culver's. Yeah.
I got to get some diesel treatment in mine because I don't think I'm going to start it up and run it till it's snow's flying. And you're all welcome. I got a brand new nice Kubota tractor with an awesome snowblower on it, which means we won't get any snow this year.
Yeah. All right. I'm excited to use mine again this year. It worked great. So Culver's of Brookings and Watertown. We did not stop last night, but holy smokes, the line after the game was bananas. That was crazy just leaving the game. That's a whole nother thing. But Culver's of Brookings in Watertown, some of the best food around. I'm sure we're going to stop this week after the Murray State game for supper. I'm taking the whole family, it sounds like. I'm definitely getting that butter burger, double butter burger, probably with some bacon, probably with some fries. I don't need the cheese curds or onion rings, Chad. I just need some fries. And maybe if I'm
Each
feeling
their own.
crazy, I'll split a cement mixer, concrete mixer with the wife. So we'll see. So
I see Brendan finally got his Scooby token.
yeah, I know Ben paid
Paid him
finally.
off. Yeah.
Jeepers. That took a while.
He texted me. He's like, "Do you remember how many Scooby tokens it was?" And I'm like, 6 to 10. I really
No.
don't know.
That's funny. Gosh,
Uh,
that's really funny. All right. So let's get into the game. We talked about it here. It's a victory Sunday. We are happy with the win, overtime win. First one in the Division I era that went into overtime, right? I've heard two conflicting things. One said ever, and one said in the interstate series, which I'm guessing goes back to the Corn series too. So, yeah.
Interestingly enough, I don't know if my specs. I'll look that up. I've
Okay.
got it.
So, Jake, start us off with something positive from this game. What's good with this game?
Yeah, no, and honestly, I think I wrote down my thoughts here. I think it's been really good to kind of just see where we're at from just a couple tough weeks. Man, holy cow! Like, look at the competition we had here. NDSU last week, obviously, and this week, just some good teams. I think the top of the valley, the top of the FCS is in a strong spot. And we got challenged. I mean, those guys were grinding. I mean, they were working hard. It's a lot of stuff. Now, again, Gronowski played great. I thought he had a good game. Numbers were kind of small. Some opportunities. Not saying it was terrible, but I think at the end of the day, end of the game, and this is kind of where we had kind of a text group last night with all of us that I was like, hey guys, we won. Like it's give them. Like we kind of ground out. The coaches were confident. We went for it on 4th and inches. Like, and again, just as a former guy, I'm just thinking that locker room, there's a lot of celebration in that because at the end of the day, you play to win the game and we won the game. And there's a lot of hugs in that locker room. I'm sure those guys fought for each other. Those guys grinded out for each other. I mean, that camaraderie, that kind of team dynamic that goes and brings out, I think is just a really cool thing to recognize. And definitely there's opportunities, right? I mean, second half we did not look good. Our running backs probably didn't play as well as we typically had. So I can be critical too, guys. I'm not always just positive, but like I said, I trust the process. Jimmy referenced that in the post game presser that it's a methodical approach. They're grinding it out. They're watching. I mean, those coaches probably watched every play 15 times by noon today. I mean, that's just the work they put in. And I know that now the players are going to go watch every play 7 times in position group meetings and they critique the heck out of it. And so I think trusting that our coaches are putting them in the right position, those guys are adjusting. I think we saw that in this game in some ways. So good things.
Yeah. No, I think for me, I have to start with the offense or the defense. Defense again played lights out. Definitely retired in that 4th quarter there. Travis Tice is a great running back, very good, runs hard. And he was breaking off some runs there at the end. I do wonder on his yardage. I'd love to I might do the math this week. How many of his yards came in the 4th quarter versus the first 3 quarters? Because really it felt like he was getting 8 yards a pop on a lot of his runs there. But man, I loved what the defensive line did against the run. A little bit concerned about the pass rush just from the front 4. Linebackers were great. Again, we talked about the big 3 again, Francil, Bach, and Spalding. And then Dayton McGoy gets that sack early, kind of out of nowhere, just shot out of a cannon. And then the back end, I thought we were okay. We did talk last week that the Karan Adams, super fast. Like, we saw that in the Youngstown game last weekend. That guy can fly. If he can learn to catch the ball a little more consistently, he's going to be a very, very good player for them. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just proud of our defense and rants and raves. I talked about Kobe Herter and just how good he has been this season, kind of filling in for Cale Reeder. And really, he doesn't leave the field. Durant's and Large kind of swapped on and off last night. But Herter doesn't leave, and you can see why, because he's communicating, he's getting guys aligned. He is making sure tackles when he comes up in the box. Even in pass coverage, he was getting deep last night, broke up some passes, just looked really good out there. And I really do. I said this. I really hope Kobe Herter gets some love in the All-American ballots this year, because he's been damn good. I don't even know if he'll be All Valley, but he should be All-American in my opinion. And then the one guy I think got to shout out Jalen Lee. He got called for a bad holding or pass interference where he just panicked early. I set up USD's first touchdown on that opening drive, I believe it was. But then he came back, he played well throughout the game, and then made that huge tackle in overtime, where if he doesn't make that tackle, it's a big gain. So good on him for just getting right. And he's a young player too. You think he's only a sophomore. His best ball is still in front of him too. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
And I met his mom out at tailgating. I think
Oh,
one of the
nice.
people that stopped us and got a picture with us. Definitely got a pudding shot. It was nice to meet her. On the defense, something that Brendan had pointed out, and I saw it again a little bit on the rewatch. You were talking about the offense, the pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like our guys were slipping and falling down a bunch. Like a couple guys in particular who I won't call out, but it's kind of strange that we just kept kind of slipping. Like a couple different times we had like direct lines to the quarterback, guy just falls down. Like that sucks. So it's there is what I'm trying to say. I mean, even as well as they did, we could have, I think if some of that stuff didn't happen, we could have been even better.
Yeah.
So, room for improvement.
Yep.
On a fantastic performance.
Oh, this is crazy. Kayla, thank you. I completely forgot that this was Lofton that you sent me. Huh. That's cool. Thank you. That is awesome. Sweet.
Yeah, he's been playing excellent, by the way. Being there early in his career, doing an excellent job. We really like his stuff. So
yeah, he looks good. Good out there. Jim Poppin on the kiss cam. Yes, we did miss that in the Ranson Rays. Good job, Jim Poppin. My kids saw it, so they thought it was funny. So that's cool. Yep. Kevin Brenner. Yes, Dallas wanted to talk about this. Dallas said that Kevin Brenner is getting his game ball this week simply for that block on that line. And I guess we got to point this out too. The young tight ends are blocking better than they did at the start of the season. There is still some inconsistency, but they are redshirt freshmen and sophomores. These are their first live bullet game reps against, ones probably, for this, live game setting. So they are learning, they're getting better. Again, David Alper's flat backed a guy just like he did up in Fargo on a couple plays against USD here. So that's good to see. I don't know. These guys are improving, folks. We just got to be patient. These young talent.
That's what was interesting in the post-game presser. Mark called it out a little bit that I thought was just a good way to put it. I mean, he goes, look, number one, we've been challenged. Like one of our goals is third down efficiency and even first down efficiency. Like we're not in a position on first down often that, we're gaining 3-4 yards, putting ourselves second, third down. We're not doing well at first down efficiency. And he called out, I think a lot of it is there's a lot of new guys on the offense, as we've said, and it's game 7. Like at some point you got to make sure you're gelling, but you pair that with the new coordinators. I think we're just really starting to see some of those young guys get a little more confidence, come into their own. And, honestly, at some point it's sports, whether it's high school football, college football, like when you peak, it's coming. And that's again, a little too optimistic and too positive, guys. I'll have some criticism too.
No, you're fine.
I mean, we're literally like better than peaking. I mean, this peak in December, right? I mean, that's when you want to peak with these young guys. So like that's a real thing. Like that mojo, that feeling, that confidence, all that goes into a team. I mean, that is a real thing. Like when you peak, honestly, I'll call it out. 2009, we peaked early. We got to Montana and it was, it just wasn't there. I felt it. You could feel it. I think that's kind of a positive. Like we got so much opportunity to be good. Like it's a good thing.
Yeah. Jake, do you want to look at this question from John
I'll
Collins?
read it for you.
Okay.
Jake, John Colley asked, Jake, do you think we should pass more on first down? We seem to run a lot on first and second down.
Yeah, I mean, we got great running backs. I don't know why we wouldn't, oftentimes, right? But I think it's also, looking at what we're getting for schemes, personnel, what those guys are seeing from the booth at different times. I mean, I think that's where that kind of confidence and mojo with those coordinators needs to really kind of come. And if it's not there, it will. So, I mean, do I think we should pass or run on first down more? I guess I really can't answer that. I don't really think I have an opinion on it, but I think, regardless if we're passing or running, that's an opportunity with that first down efficiency. And like I said, Mark even called that out.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that you should change somewhat dynamically depending on how that's working for the team you're playing against, right? Like even maybe middle of the game, maybe it was working first half, not second half. If the pass is going to get you the first 4 yards or the run's going to get you the first 4 yards and one's working better than the other, then that's what I say you should do personally. That's my take, Matt.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I would agree with Dustin here. Again, this would be super interesting to go back and chart. Like maybe if I have time this week, I don't know. But this, Dustin's saying here, play calling is inconsistent. 1 drive, 3 passes, 3 and out. A different drive, 3 runs, 3 and out. I think our play callers, whatever the mechanism is or the mechanics of how that's working, we don't know for sure. But they're finding their footing too, I think, at this point. And again,
yeah, though, I mean, in some of that depends.
There's some execution, though. We saw that last night too, right? Like that's not to throw the players under the bus, but it's probably a little bit of both. So
the ball hits you in the hands on a third down, you need to catch that thing, right?
I knew he was going to go there.
And untimely penalties, right? Like Jimmy talked about that in his press conference, like untimely penalties, and Mark talked about it too. There's just little things right now. If they could clean it up, we are going to be good. So I do disagree with what Devin said. I think we're who we are at this point on offense. I think we still have so much more room to growth. Like we haven't even come close to our ceiling yet. I believe on offense.
Look at that first drive, Devin. Devin Labinis says, I think we are who we are at this point on offense. Look at that first drive, man. It really looked a lot better. And like excuse me, yeah. I thought it was Aaron Amick. No, Darren said that Mark really had a great game. And I agree 100%. He was ripping it. The balls were right there. The timing on that, especially on those first couple series, man, the timing was right there where you need to be. And then somehow that kind of got away a little bit. We had the miscues, the penalties, like you were saying, and that's how you can get out of rhythm as an offense. It's really easy to have happen. So it's not just one factor.
What Jordan calls out here, I think it's also important to remember NDSU and USC have great defenses. Not only great defenses, but great coaching. I would, again, rivals. I don't want to, give them too much love, but they got some good programs, and that's something you got to recognize. And not only are we getting good teams, playing the last couple of games, we're getting those teams best, right? I mean, we are defending national champs. We're a rivalry game. They're bringing out all the stops. Like I said, that's when you really start to scheme. I think those coaches on the other side are giving up, some different looks that who knows how that kind of really plays into those young players on offense when they're getting different looks. The execution on that is definitely the challenge, right? I mean, that's our opportunity. We have to execute more. Jimmy talks about it every game, but I think that's a tough for a first, second year guy. Like, holy cow, now they're blitzing from here, they're blitzing from there. Like they're running this stunt. I mean, I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm just saying like that's an opportunity. Like here in 3, 4, 5 games, like man, hopefully first, second, third round playoffs, we're starting to get our groove with those young guys.
And I want to, Chad, will you pull up Steve Anderson's comment again? You had it flash just for a second, but we have some games to help get right. Absolutely. Like this, what I do not want us to do though, is to be satisfied with 13 pass attempts in this game against Murray State. Like I'm looking ahead here. I want us to throw the ball 20 to 25 times just to try to get that consistent rhythm going, like against an opponent that doesn't know. It's not a scout team or whatever. It's an actual some team, Murray State's first team defense. So I would love us. That's one of the issues we saw with NDSU in past years, right? They ran the ball down everyone's throat, and then they got to the playoffs where a team took away the run, and they haven't, had those game reps to get the hiccups out of their passing offense and kind of sputtered the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens here. I would like us to pass the ball, even if it means running up the score a little bit on Murray. Sorry, Murray. Sorry, Michael.
I agree with you 100%. And it did seem to me as the game progressed, we took less shots downfield than we did early on. We had some deeper passes. I'd like to see maybe some tight ends on a seam route or something that get a little deeper so we have more of that vertical threat and they can't stack that box so much. But again, I'm no coach. So like Jake says, these guys know what they're doing. We got to trust them at a certain point anyway.
Yep. 100%. Man, lots of good comments. You guys are engaged tonight in the comments, so thank you.
I'm trying to keep up because we're talking on them here, so.
Yep. And then on USD's side, there were NFL scouts there last night, and what did JJ Galbraith had 2 drops? Like, that's just an awful game to have 2 drops in a big time marquee matchup like this, and feel bad for the guy because he's a good tight end. He is. But those drops were just killers. So I just wonder what those scouts kind of thought as they were walking away in that one. And then the other guy I want to call out is their linebacker, that Gary Bryant, the third.
Good dude.
That guy can cover some ground. He's a good player. I wonder if he'll. Where'd they find him at? I forget.
I think he's been on the team for a little while.
Oh no, he is, but yeah, he's just a sophomore for them. But
yeah,
he's gonna make some noise. That's a good player too. So yeah, I don't know. Anything else, Jake, for you?
Yeah, no, I think a couple guys called it out here. Seth mentioned that again, the team up north that won't be named, did they did that for years. They ran power football. They were true to who they were, and they were successful with it. They just did it better than a lot of people, offense and defensively. And I think that's in a lot of ways Jimmy's mindset. That's the way he is as an individual. I think that's the way he is as a coach, that he's a confident guy. He's passionate. He's so passionate. And when we saw that in the post-game presser, man, like that, he is so engaged with what he does that he's, he holds those guys accountable to be the best. And I think that's something we're going to start to see more. And really, where I have a lot of confidence and faith, and again, calling out the opportunities too. We got to execute more. We have to, eliminate some of those mistakes. Our offense has to really kind of turn some things around. We were a completely different team in the second half, and not a very good way last night, that I think has some opportunities. But like that's the thing. I think we are going to be who we are, but we just haven't hit that yet. Honestly, like I truly feel like we have not hit what Jimmy has expectations for those guys, and that's a good thing, right? I mean, there's a lot of potential on this team. We're a good football team. I hate to say it and get too deep, but I mean, we are 34-3 in 3 years. I mean, we are winning games. We have a great culture and a great program. This is the peak of South Dakota State football in a lot of ways, and just fun to see where we're going to go for the rest of the season.
Yep. Yeah. With what Kevin's asking there, any worries about it 2 games in a row? I am not. It's the number 2 and number 4 team in the country, with good defenses. We knew that. We knew they were going to be slugfests. And I think Jimmy told us last year, right, that what we were watching with that team was unusual. Like the amount of NFL caliber talent that was on that offense, and just to completely obliterate great defenses how they did last year was very unusual. And we still want to get there. We still want to do that. But I think there's a realization from most fans that there's growing pains with so many new faces and inexperienced parts that are in this offense now. It's going to get there. I do feel very confident it's going to get there. And maybe that's my blue tinted glasses. So,
and I think Matt Frazee pointed it out too. I think he kept calling it analogous to the 26 guys up north team, and how they were senior laden and had all that NFL talent, and you're going to see a dip. It's just how it is.
Yep. But there can be a rebound. There's going to be a rebound, right? We're going to get there. So, all right.
Well, Like
What else?
Rogers used to say, relax.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. Yep.
Yeah, sorry, versus coach.
RELAX.
I didn't think
Relax.
about the
Yeah.
confusion. Being
Yeah.
a Packers fan, you being a Packers fan, I knew you know
Yeah.
what I meant. So
Yeah, Voorhees. Yes, we did miss Voorhees on the north-south runs. Just we needed a guy plant his foot in the ground and go on a few of those runs. Where both Angel and Amar are so patient. Sometimes they just wait for that hole to open when maybe it'd be best just to put that foot in the ground and plow ahead. I don't know.
yeah, I really liked what I saw from 21 last night, man. 21 was grinding and running like a man possessed. He really was hitting the hole. He wasn't giving up. His feet kept moving. He was getting extra yards. I mean, a lot of props to him because he's a little bit on the smaller side in our running backs room, but he was working like a man 30, 40 pounds heavier than he was, and really liked what I saw out of him last night. Very impressed. He did great.
Yeah, and the one fumble he did have, right, was a huge point in the game. Obviously, it was huge, but that was a heck of a was that Shorter that knocked it out?
I don't know who knocked it out, but like Brendan said, the helmet was perfectly placed.
Yeah.
At some point in time, things like that are going to happen. I mean, you don't have two hands on the ball. You have a biceps and a hand, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
kind of hard to keep that from coming out on the other side. You ain't got no fingers.
Yeah, it's a great play by the defender. Got to tip your cap sometimes to some of that stuff too. So, all right, game balls, right? Do we want to do game balls now or anything else from this game?
I mean, the crowd was good. I have.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about any
some complaints, but I might
yeah.
save them for the B team because that's kind of where we do that.
Yeah. Chad, you went to the volleyball match, right? Yeah, tailgate was great. Tons of people.
Awesome. Yeah.
Chad, how much money did you raise? How were you at? In case people don't have Twitter.
Where am I at? I would like to thank everyone that donated to the Pudding Shot Fund, and my cousin Corey, whose name I apparently spelt wrong. I don't know that I've ever wrote my cousin's Corey's name down. So EY or Y, I didn't know. Anyway, the other lot, he called themselves. They wanted to be called the Ish lot. We'll save that and keep it a little PC. But that's the old people that used to tailgate in our lot that tailgate in the $10 pay lot. They raised $166. They brought to me, which was a thorough surprise because his wife Chrissy made a bunch of pudding shots, so they did that too. I went up to the backyard, met one of the guys that has donated a bunch of money before. Shout out to Tim, you know who you are. There was 5 different people who dropped $100 bills in there at the end of the night. So we're starting there. Everything else that got donated, so I'm standing, you know me, Matt, right? You know how I am at tailgating. And
you're all over the place.
Jake, yeah, right. Jake, you haven't seen it before, so I'm sorry. But, I give beer to people, and sometimes they're the opposing fans. So there's this one guy dressed in USD stuff, standing in the line to the toilet, and was standing there, started kind of chit-chatting with him and says, "You need a beer? What are you drinking?" It's Coors Light, whatever. I said, "Well, I got a beer for you. You want a Spotted Cow?" Went over, get him. Talking to him. He comes in, goes in the bathroom, comes back. I come back out, and we're talking a little bit more afterwards. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, you're a USD guy. You got people on the team." He's like, "Yeah, my son's the quarterback, And so I talked to this guy for about 10 minutes before I realized he said his name's Todd. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally know who you are. His hands had to be twice as thick as mine. Like, oh my gosh, I felt small around that dude. Anyway, they raised a lot of money. The total was, what was it? 1025, I think was something the total.
Like it was over 1,000. So
yeah, it was nice. 1025 plus I think the 165 on top of that. So that's amazing. Shout out to Northwestern Mutual for the help on that. We're doing the Lemon Top Challenge. I want to shout out Jim. Jim's doing an excellent job pushing that. The tailgate was great. You feel free, man. I bring Bud Light to give away. They got rabbits on the cans, so it would be Busch Light, but Bud Light put rabbits on the cans. I'm gonna buy those.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I kind of lost myself in that discussion. I think you
Yeah.
saw my ADD kick in when I remembered I was sitting there talking to Todd. And what a cool dude. Much like his son, Aiden was super cool down when we talked to him down in Texas, and nice people. His mom come over and was giving us a little bit of a hard time. So, but that's
What?
okay. I mean, we're all raising money for the
Yeah.
fight against childhood cancer, and so it's been good.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of like just giving people a hard time, uh, there's been so many like bad stories from this rivalry of like fans misbehaving and being mean to each other and whatnot, just being stupid. Um, that was yesterday was good. Like I did
Yeah.
not see any incidents. I saw both fan bases kind of giving each other some ribbon, and that was fine. Like we had some USD people around where my dad has his seats, and it was back and forth, but it was all good-hearted, good-natured. Like we were watching a game. Like no one was being a jerk to each other. I got my little shot in at the bookstore. There was I'm guessing a USD dad holding like an SDSU hoodie that would look like it's popular for, a college age girl probably. And I was like, "Oh, good, you got a new wardrobe finally." And he just laughed and like shook his
Yeah.
head, like, "Not for me." Like,
Not
Yeah.
for me.
so yeah, that was good. I don't know. So just kudos to both fan bases. There weren't many USD fans there, kind of what we kind of thought,
Yeah.
less than 5%. But those that did show up were good. So yeah.
Oh, I know what I was trying to get to, and I lost it mid story. As I'm standing there talking to Todd Bauman, I had 3 or 4 different people come up, give me money, and interrupt talking to him, and just hand me money. And he's like, Who are you?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this." That's how I kind of figured out who he was. I'm doing this thing, raising money for Alex's lemonade stand.
Yeah.
So that was the point of the story. Took forever to get there. I'm sorry for taking.
You got
so much
there.
time.
You got there. The one thing here with Garrett, a lot of fans exiting East stands prior to start of overtime was disappointing, but
Yeah.
beginning attendance was great. Yeah, and it's hard, right? Because I almost left then too because my daughter was like falling asleep. Not early, but she was ready to. So it's hard. Like it is hard. I get everyone
those
has
night
different reasons
games.
for leaving. That did get late with the overtime for families and stuff. So
Did you
I'm
go
glad
in
we
on
stayed.
the east or the west side, guys? Like, where did you enter?
I went in on the West.
I go
Yeah.
west. Yeah.
Okay, we gotta have a nice little talk about how we can get people in faster on the east side because they were lined up down past UPD.
Open the third
Wow.
gate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree that I
Yeah,
think needs to
that's-
happen when we have 19,000 people, and we know we have 19,000 people coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Oh, it's good to hear Tom Manzer too on
Oh
that.
yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
It
I was
looks
gonna
like
comment on that. That was awesome.
it looks like Ryan was at an event for his daughter. So
When he
that's why
when he was
Ryan
on, I thought he told us that was going to happen. So
Yeah, I feel like he did too.
I'm not sure why we were surprised. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Maybe he
Yeah.
said it after the show, potentially.
Yeah, but it was good. Like when I heard his voice for the Pride, I was like, "Whoa, Tom!
Yeah.
Like the Pride is back!" Like, oh, cool. So, yeah. What else? Anything else? Odds and ends, nuts and bolts. There.
Well, I don't know if I want to rant here, but maybe I will. I had a half a dozen people come up to me and tell me how terrible it was that the concession stands before half were out of hot dogs and all other things. So please, guys, do better. Like, we have 19,000 people. We have to have enough food for 19,000 people. We can't be running out of hot dogs when they cost 25 cents, right? I mean, like, they can't be that expensive. The profit margin's high. You throw a few away at the end of the night. It sucks, but yeah, hot chocolate was another thing that people definitely said that we ran out of it. And that's so easy not to run out of. I mean, it doesn't take up that much space, and all you got to have is hot water to add mix to. So thanks, Tim.
Yeah. All right. Good job, Tim. Well, we can always count on Tim for the food stuff. So
you guys would have been disappointed in me. I actually forgot my wallet, so I couldn't get a beer at the game. But I had my 30-week pregnant wife go and get 2. And it was funny. The guys that I was with, I'm like, she was walking out. She was going to the bathroom. I was like, Annie, 2 beers. and they're like, she's not going to do that. I was like, 5-1 odds she does. And I was like, I didn't actually think she would. And sure as can be, she came walking up,
no.
and I'm like, boy, that's not a good look. I feel bad for that.
Who says chivalry's dead, huh?
Yeah.
USD
She
fans are like,
won.
God, those SDSU guys, their people really like to drink. I think
Yeah.
I saw a pregnant lady carrying 2 beers.
Yeah, 30 weeks. So you can definitely tell, so
Gosh,
yeah,
that's funny.
I felt bad.
Yeah. All right, game balls. Let's get into it here. Offensively, so last week got to flip back here. My notebook. All right, Mark. Dallas picked Mark. So good job to Dallas.
Nice.
That's who I went with, was Mark. Although it could have been Evan Berenson. He had a good game. So I could have been right too. I'm not sure. Griffin Wilde, Chad, that was a good guess. Griffin Wilde had a great game. Some of those deep outs, man, he makes some tremendous catches. The one picture that was the header picture for Rants and Raves, Hannah Owens, the Owens effect, nailed that picture. That is an awesome picture of Griffin catching that. So shout out to Griffin. So we were all pretty good there. Defensively, go ahead.
Well, I just think one game ball, like a sub game ball, should go to this guy because he out Eck in the trick play scenario and helped us win the game. Oh, I got the wrong.
Yeah.
I got the wrong comment. Sorry.
Yeah,
The
Josh
trick
Davis.
plays.
Oh.
Yeah, man. Josh, you ain't got Pierre Strong in the backfield throwing the ball. You can't trust them running backs that aren't NFL quality,
Friend of the pod, Josh Davis, respectfully, that.
I'm just giving. I'm razzing.
I know. So
those kind of plays, you're a genius when they work, and you're the worst
Yeah.
coach ever when they don't. So I'm surprised they used so many of them in the same game. Like they were throwing the kitchen sink at it, is how I looked at that when they were throwing that many trick plays. And they had one that worked real well.
Yeah. And I mean, if Galbraith catches that one too, like that's a touchdown there, that drop took off the board. So
the pop pass.
Yep. But Bob told Josh full steam straight ahead, and Josh emptied the kitchen sink on it. So yeah. All right. Defensively, I went with Graham Spalding, which Jim Poppin picked Graham Spalding for you. So the law firm.
Nice.
So you nailed that one.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, Adam Bach. We were all good with Adam Bach. He had a great game. Dallas Beanham. Dallas Beanham had an okay game, I'd say. Carter Bell's a tough draw, right? Yeah. So, yeah. And Dawson Ripper didn't play, and Randy K was my sub pick, and Randy was out there, but I don't think had any major impact giant plays. But again, defensive lineman, who knows? So, yeah. Any other one else on defense?
I mean,
Garrett,
obviously
we can't do that, Garrett. We got to pick a player.
Right. I will get on your case. Caleb Francel had an excellent game as well, so shout out to him as well. Steve Anderson agrees with me.
Yep.
Although I'm not sure that's how he spells it.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah. All right, and the score, none of us were close on the score, so we're not even going to talk about that. So,
well, Parlay said I would take the under on this game, and I'm like, really? He said, oh yeah, and I said, well, he was right. So,
yeah. All right, let's get into Murray State, or actually, let's talk about Northwestern Mutual, Chad. Yeah.
So Northwestern Mutual, like I said, the big sponsor for the Alex's Lemonade stand. They're helping out with that. Get yourself the Lemon Top Challenge going on. Jim can tell you how to do it, but if you photo yourself with lemon on your head, the Northwestern Mutual Foundation will donate $10 if you tag it right to Alex's Lemonade stand, and that's $10 per social media account. You can head to FCS Nation Radio, Alex's Lemonade stand. Just Google that, bring it up. Kevin's got the lowdown out there, and they'll tell you how to do that. And you can get Mark $10 donated in his name every social account. So that's potentially like $30 because it's like Instagram, X, and Facebook. So free $30 there. Northwestern Mutual is your one stop for all your insurance, life insurance, and financial planning needs. If you don't have a financial planner already, check it out. Give them a talk. It doesn't cost anything to talk to them. And they like Brendan said before, it can take a lot of load off your mind once you get a financial planner to get your life situated. You might be in a better situation than you thought you were, but it was something you were kind of in the back of your mind concerned about and didn't realize how much it was, weighing you down. So give Chris Schenkel and the boys a call down at Northwestern Mutual in Sioux Falls.
Yeah. Hey, before we get on to Murray State, Jake, what's going on with Cubbies?
Yeah, so Cubby Sports Bar and Grill, a big shout out to them as a sponsor as well. Of course, always a big supporter of South Dakota State. I think that's the best thing about Cubbies in a lot of ways. Obviously, the food is great, the service is always great as well. But they always show up for big games, whether it's a USD, a Hobo Day, whatever it is. But even further, throughout the entire year, when you get to April and you have the scholarship auction, I mean, they're always first class, ready to host people, ready to take on the big basketball games. They're a huge supporter of South Dakota State athletics, and I think that's Cubby Sports Bar and Grill. Why you got to always stop by there game day for sure.
I tried on Saturday with the kids because I wanted to have that Cubbies experience. The line was out the door. It just wasn't going to work. So they were hungry. They had to go to the bathroom.
They're that good.
Yeah, and they're that good. It was just nuts. So I did not get my Cubbies, but maybe this weekend we'll see. Maybe before the game with the family. We'll see.
They do an excellent job of keeping on top of things and turning, but when you have that many people show up, sometimes it just more than you can really sit.
Yep. Yeah, totally. Nope. 100%. All right. Should we talk about volleyball or should we talk about Murray State?
Volleyball got another win, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You went to it, Chad, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Oh, I thought you. I know you did. You were setting up.
I went Tuesday. Tuesday when we played USD. Five sets. That was an awesome game, honestly. And just the atmosphere now with the new arena, awesome for I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old daughter.
Love
daughters,
the pictures,
and they
just by the way.
they just ran around having a great time. Great situation for kids with that new arena. But then the product on the court, my gosh, that was fun to watch.
Yeah.
I wish honestly we left in the third set. I'll admit. I mean, it was a 7:00 game, and the 2-year-old was screaming. And it's different to scream in an arena than obviously a football stadium. So we're like, we got to go. But it was fun. I mean, I'm not saying I was surprised by that, but it was awesome.
Was it a big crowd for volleyball that night?
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I heard it was rocking.
Yeah, it was. I mean, just the energy was great. The top sections were open, but it was a lot of energy, a lot of noise. Their coach he's got a lot of energy going too. Like, it's fun to watch. And again, living down in Nebraska, we watched a couple Husker games, went to quite a few of those. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's maybe that level. They're the number 1 team in the country, I think, or top 5. But it's a good product, man. They're a good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we did see. Tim said this here. Sydney Schnetten did get hurt right at the end of the game, or the match, whatever. So that's too bad. Hopefully she's okay. We did see her in a walking boot at tailgating, so hopefully she's all right. This is a big part of our team this year. So, all right, Murray State. Let's talk about Murray State. So Murray State, a horse
that runs around their field when they score a touchdown.
But we don't have to worry about that. It's here. So they have 1 win on the season. They beat Mississippi Valley State in the third week of the year, 59-8. Otherwise, they've had some tough games. They gave up 51 points to Missouri. They got beat by non-scholarship Butler, 19-17. Got beat by North Dakota, but they did score 35 points in that game against North Dakota. But USD slapped them 59-0. The Trees, Indiana State, got them 31-27. Illinois State got them 40-32. And then NDSU really took them to the woodshed this week, 59-6. But those are competitive efforts against Illinois State and Indiana State. So that's Michael has been saying the last couple of weeks on Scared Money that the team is improved, but it's not showing up in the record because we've stepped up. They've stepped up from the Ohio Valley to the Missouri Valley, and totally different level of play. So anything, guys, that stands out to you about them?
Well, they got a really good quarterback, right? Tell us a little bit about that, Matt. I'm pretty sure you know more about that than I do.
So Jaden Johansson, right? Alex has talked about this, I believe, on Scared Money. Sioux Falls, Washington grad. Started his career at NDSU, spent a year there, and then went out to School of Mines. I believe School of Mines was a very good player out there at Mines, and ended up transferring to Murray State for this last year of eligibility, just to kind of be a bridge quarterback there. And he's playing well. He's over 1,000 passing yards on the season. Has 220 rushing yards, so he's definitely mobile. He was Zach Hines' quarterback in high school, so all those good Sioux Falls, Washington teams, that perennial contender down there, he was that quarterback. So he's a winner. He knows how to win. So this is probably a frustrating year for him, but I'm sure he's going to have a huge crowd here, I bet, for this game with family, friends. Maybe we'll see a Zach Hines sighting. So it's just going to be cool to see him back playing. 3 good running backs. They really, spread the ball around on running the ball. They're just some talented young wide receivers. They're young also at a lot of different positions, but defensively are really struggling right now. It looks like to keep up with the physicality of the Missouri Valley. So we'll see on them.
I think the one thing I want to say about Murray is it does seem like they are improving. I think they're actually better this year than they were last year. And they got to get used to the physicality of this league and how we play ball to compete. And hopefully they'll get there because, I mean, the more good teams we have, the better off it is. We don't want to show up to a game and have it be a snooze fest because we're pine bluffing them by the end of the first quarter. That's just my take. Like, I loved the game last night. We didn't talk about that much. That game was so much fun because it was so competitive. People said, I couldn't handle it, my heart. Dude, I love games like that's the best. Because you have that pent up, I don't know what you want to call it, but there's that suspense until the very end. And then all of a sudden, when you win, it's just that much more glorious, in my opinion. If we would have shellacked them and walked out at half because we were beating them by so much fun, yeah, it'd been great because it's USD, but it's kind of fun that they're actually competitive.
Yeah,
exactly. More than just competitive, I should say. They're a really good team.
Yep. And so, David Bender's point here, after back-to-back bruising games, it would be nice to get up big early and rest some players. Totally. Absolutely. Like I said, I want to see the passing game with Mark have some success in this week. I want us to throw the ball 20 plus times. Likely not going to happen, but I think it would be healthy for the passing offense to have that opportunity. But the roster building nerd in me is excited to see these young players too out there. I'm curious if we are going to see Maxwell Woods or if they're going to save that other game of eligibility for him, just in case we need him, or if they're going to let the other running back, their other freshman running back from Missouri, from Joplin, if they're going to let him actually tote the rock this time as kind of the third back in, whatever it might be, third or fourth. So we'll see. Lots of young players I'm excited to see in this one.
I mean, it's a great chance to try some concepts out too. I mean, I think we feel like we're going to win this pretty much walking away. I don't think that's unfair. So, I mean, if there's some things you want to work on a little bit, maybe try out against another team. First half's going to be a good chance to do that, I think. Quinn Renfro,
Quinn Renfro.
I know you know who it is, but just for the people.
Yep. Nope, appreciate it. Jake, anything you're looking for in this one?
Well, and I was just going to comment too. I think obviously kind of a get right game, opportunity for some of our young guys to get, kind of tightened up. And honestly, I think execution is going to be a big thing here. Now, again, playing some really tough defenses the last 2 weeks, NDSU and USD, teams and coaches that are probably scheming the hell out of us and throwing a lot of stuff that's tough. Doesn't matter, we can't execute. But I think if we're going to gain a couple confidence, we've said this through the last couple of weeks, our schedule is just built kind of tough. I mean, these last 3 games where you're a little bit more of a breather potentially. I think that's kind of where I'm going, that our guys can really focus on that execution. They can focus on cleaning some of these things up. We can get some of those looks like you guys said. And my call out, get to the game. I think that's the big thing I'd say from people. We get to these late season games, you get to deer opener, you get to pheasant opener, you get to all these things that are going on, and it's cold. As a guy on that field, it's a difference maker whether that stadium's packed versus 8,000 people. And I think it's important. I'm not calling it out because I want to make the university money. I'm calling it out because the guys need the support, and I think that's important. So that'd be the only other thing I'd say is getting to the game, regardless of who we're playing, is a big deal.
Well, I think I saw Green Dot Watch on Twitter only listed about 1,000 tickets left. So
nice.
If everybody shows up, that's a good crowd. It's a good crowd, especially when the chill's starting to come off. Dress appropriately. I think there was some people there that didn't expect it to be quite as cold as it was, and with the wind. We're from South Dakota, guys. Remember, bring hoodies and jackets and maybe some mittens or gloves. It's all right if you're not fat like me and can't just take that weather with a t-shirt,
Hey, so Michael has a good point here on this kicker. I did see I forget which game it was. This kicker is fun to watch. Remember when we did play Pine Bluff? The most exciting part of that game was the Scottish Hammer,
the punter?
like their punter.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
this kicker, the ball,
Jamie
like
the Hammer.
I'm gonna have to look this guy up, but this kicker, the ball like explodes off his foot, like on the field goal attempts. I forget where it is. He missed the one that I watched, but it was just like, holy crap! Like that was kicked well, kicked hard. So that's going to be something to watch. Is just their special teams. I am excited to see this kicker. He caught my attention just on whatever game I was watching in Murray State. So
did Michael say on Scared Money that he was coming up? I think he was. If you do come up, come to our tailgate. We'll have beer and food for you. Don't worry about that.
Yep.
And that's a good reason to show up to support these guys too. Enjoy the tailgate beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, the tailgate's great fun. I saw Jake at the JFPA. I mean, you guys seem like you're having good fellowship over there.
Yeah.
Come talk to somebody. Heck, talk to somebody you don't know. Maybe you make a new friend. I mean, we all cheering for the same team.
Perfect.
Well, bring them on by, bud. I don't know if I'll be able to give beer to every one of them and food to everyone, but come on by. We're more than friendly. Trust me.
So another, just a quick shout out, kind of a flyover this week for Matt Anderson, former player that passed away. That's kind of self-planned. Just kind of again, we're talking about the game day experience, what's happening. So that is something that's happening, as I know. And another big announcement coming from the JFPA. I'm not gonna spill it here. I think you'll be really excited about it, Chad. We were talking about something close to it earlier, but that's coming this week as well.
Ooh.
There you go.
All right.
Don't clip that, anybody.
Ooh.
Yeah, right. I'm exciting.
I am excited.
Well, cool. Well, thank you, JFPA, for all you do for the program and for us and stuff. So love working with you guys. So excellent. Predictions?
I think
Jake, offense.
sorry.
Jake off. Jeez, Chad, wait your turn.
Predictions and
I want to see some Chase. I want to see some Chase Mason. I think it'll be fun. I think that's going to be an opportunity there. Defense, I'll just do it both at once just so we get it done. I'm going with my man Durant. I just like watching him. I think he's just a fun guy to watch, and I think this is a good game to get a lot of reps.
Okay. All right, Chad, your turn.
I'm not gonna blow it too much because I got to talk about it in a couple nights, but I think we might be hearing the words butter and burger put together on this one.
Okay. Perfect. So who's your prediction for player offense? We've been doing this for 6 years, Chad.
I know. I'm multitasking in the background. I'm doing some production stuff. Sorry.
All right.
For defense, I think I want Mr. came back and had a great game this last game, and we didn't talk about him too much. Tucker Large. I think I'm going to take him because he had a really good game this last week, and maybe that's his flowers for me taking him. On the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to pick Graham Goring. I think he has he's a good player. He's had a couple things happen, but I think this is where he puts it together and really starts to get it all to come together for him.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm trying to look. Dallas just gave game balls. He didn't actually give predictions, though. Steve Anderson, we're going to use yours, Steve Anderson. So we're going with Amar, DB, and Angel. I'm special DB. Dallas Beanham. Okay, Beanham. There we go. All right. I'm gonna go with, and I've given this zero thought actually. Man. I'm going to go with Stoffel. There we go. Saw some signs of it last night. Stoffel, and I'm going to go with Chase Van Tol. So he's going to do something to disrupt things. So there we go. Score prediction. Jake, what's your score prediction?
52-6. I think Jim said that earlier.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Okay.
No, Pat said
Dallas 63-6. Dallas 63-6. Okay. Chad, what do you got?
I'm going to go 63-3.
63-3. All right. And we don't like to do the 50 burger too often, but I'm going to go with 55-3. So 55-3. All right. Anything else in the comments here? Lots of 55-6. Chris Howard, we always pick the same score. How do we do this? Are you me? Am I you? I don't know. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you to everyone that came by and stopped and said hello. It's great meeting all you guys. My son today asked me if I was famous, and that was kind of a weird question, but my wife answered it well. She said, no, a lot of people just know Dad. They recognize him. So anyways, I love meeting you guys. Thank you for all of your support. We haven't said that enough lately. Just tuning in, listening, reading our stuff, whatever it might be. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. What's up, Chad?
I'm just pointing.
What? Why?
On the screen.
It's your rabbit? What?
No, underneath my name.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So this is actually a funny story. We'll tell this quick. So last week, Miles, my son, was just asking about sponsorship for the podcast. And he goes, well, how do you become a sponsor? And I said, well, businesses give money, and we let them sponsor a segment or whatever. We talk about them a little bit. And he goes, okay, well, I want to be a sponsor. How much is a sponsorship? And I said, well, how much do you want to pay? And he goes, well, I'll pay $30. And I said, okay, what do you want to sponsor? You know, usually you have something you want to sell. You're advertising for an event or something like that. And he goes, I don't know. I just want to sponsor Chad. So, so Chad is now sponsored by Miles. So yeah,
that's awesome.
So he was very excited to see you yesterday, Chad. You made his day. So
yeah, he's a good dude. I was very excited to see him too.
Yeah, I think between you and Deb, like two of his favorite people. So yeah. So all right, Jake, any last words for everyone tonight?
No, that I think we're down the path for some good things here the next couple of weeks. I'm excited to see what happens getting into the playoff season.
Yeah, there we go. Chad, anything for you?
You know, just what Jim's saying here, and get to the game.
Yep, awesome. And Chad, one last thing. I did see Cody last night at the sidelines, Caldwell, for the game.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, excited to get the wrestling podcast fired back up. We got a whole bunch of new guys for you guys to talk to this year. So
yes, we do.
Yeah, he's excited for that.
And it was cool to have all of our eight All-Americans out on the football field being honored. I mean, the place got pretty loud for them too, so that's cool. I mean, it was really loud on the replay. So good job, crowd. Yeah. Keep it up. And we can be loud on more than third down.
Hey, there we go. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully we'll have some more good stuff coming this week about Murray State and what we can look forward to. So with that, go big, go blue, go
Jags.